So, hello friends, we meet again on integrated homeopathy platform. This is one more case of synthetic prescribing, as you know, it is so much necessary in today's time to understand both aspects of assault. Okay, so I'm presenting a case of Calcarea Silicata, and we will understand why we came to this remedy and not some other salt of Calcarea. So I share my screen. So this young man in his mid-30s came to me somewhere last year. So this father and son, they are in the same business, but they work independently. There's no friction. They are working very cordially and well, but in the same business. And the father gives him his monthly salary. So they are staying joint, and professionally and family wise, it's a well settled family. But he's very worried since he's in his mid 30s. He feels ki what will happen in future when I have to separate out from this joint family setup. And because of this, there's a lot of self doubt whenever the business goes up and down. He says, I enjoy my work, and whenever there is this feeling of business going down, then I think a lot on things like, about my financial stability. I need to be a very good son, and he's got a small child. So he says, I need to be a good father. My relationship with all my family members should be good, and I should not be a burden on anyone. So he always thinks that how to make the business go ahead. He said he compares himself and his father like a superstar father who is so high up the ladder and who's so doing so well in business and so well settled. And he, though in his mid 30s, is a struggling star son. So that puts a lot of pressure on him. He says that I need to surpass that benchmark, the benchmark which he himself has made as his father, to get that appreciation from the people, because he feels that people are observing and commenting that, see, the father is doing so well and the son is not, reach there. And so every comment that they make, whether they mean it or not, but he takes it very personally and he sort of reads and observes in between the lines. He says, I'm very introvert. He's more into himself. He doesn't talk much. He said, I was carefree till 12th and I had everything on a platter. But I've seen my relatives, those who are not doing well in their work, they get comments from people, and I observe that how people can comment. So it can stay true for me also, because I'm also not reached there where my father is. So he listens to podcasts and interviews and, the podcasts on health, psychology, human behavior. So he feels that these are the ways where, I can improve myself to improve my business. And I'm very curious. He studied overseas and he said it's a new world of knowledge where you have to apply logic reasoning. And that's the way mind develops. And I'm very adaptable. I can mold myself to any environment. But I'm very sensitive, he said, of not being settled. And that I'm still, passive income. It's my father who gives me the salary. So it's me who has to, I want to fulfill the financial responsibilities of my family since I'm the older son and my wife's family. So that insecurity he's carrying with him all the time. He said right now, almost a major aspect of the expenses, the father is contributing for the home expenses. And I feel very much that I'm not the one who's contributing. Nobody's commenting, parents, nobody's putting pressure, but he feels like pressure within him that he's not there. He said, I'm very slow mover in life, and that makes him extremely insecure because he's slow. Nobody said so, but when I see my friends achieving and I'm behind them, it makes me very restless and frustrated. I'm not doing enough. So then he starts working to distract himself. When my work is down, he feels a lot of sense of lack in him. Then it makes me question myself where I can do better. So then he goes again into podcasts looking for answers. Being an introvert, he's very self-observant and he's observant of the environment. So he tries to search, he observes himself, where am I lacking and how to cope up. And then he tries different experiments to see, from where he can get some side income, like starting podcast and video editing and all, some small projects. He has been a musician since childhood. He plays the piano and he plays it really well. So whenever he's stressed, he locks himself and he starts playing the piano. Sort of, it's a stress buster for him. I don't like to go into extremes of emotions. For me, what is important is the mental stability and the productivity. His father wanted him to come to the business. And he, at that point of time in his teens, when he had to choose a career, he said, I never knew what I wanted to do in life. So it was a father's, you know, vision of what he has to be that he has borrowed. So, but then subconsciously, he felt he's so impressed with his father. He said, I like this field. Then he always says that I need to take things seriously. If I take things seriously and without joke, then I can do well. So he has the ability to do well, to perform well in life, but that something is lacking in him. That mental switch took place once I decided that I need to be serious. My laksh, he said, is to be stable financially, to have a good health, and to have good relationships. I'm conscious of health, exercise, and eating habits, and I'm very practical in my expectations. If there's no input, there cannot be any output. I'm spiritual since childhood. He listens a young man, who can go out party. He would rather go for spiritual discourses, spiritual retreats, listen to kathas, philosophy. All this keeps me grounded, and that comes from his family. I enjoy kirtan singing. I feel very positive energy. And there's a lot of anticipatory anxiety. So whenever he has to meet a client or he has to go for an interview, then he feels so anxious within him. He has to mentally rehearse and prepare himself for the entire interview or whatever exam he's going to give. Where stability comes, I have a lot of self-doubt. What am I doing? Is it worth it or not? But it's not a continuous self-doubt, it's momentary. He always feels, I need to prove my worth. Moral values came from religion. My father is my benchmark. So he sees his father somewhere high up. And then he is wanting to be there and he feels very observed and criticized, or, people are remarking and seeing that he's not there. That motivates me. And it's a double edged sword to have a father who's so successful and doing so well in life. People have observed and commented that son may be feeling the pressure to reach the bench. I was stubborn as a child and I used to cry for a cycle, and I made my parents go and get it in the middle of the night, that was. He complains of nose block and he's been suffering since years, but since 1 month he said it's very, very severe. Whatever medication I take, I get no relief. And this repeated cold starts with throat since a long time. So every time there's a change of season or there's pollution, or if he eats ice cream, cold drinks, or dust, then he gets into a severe cold and nose block. And he's better by steam and exercise. His physical generals were appetite normal, craving sweets, other urine, stool, perspiration, nothing marked as such. Thermal also, it was more of, ambi, varicose veins since beginning, and father had BP and mother varicose veins. So what I observed is he was sitting very, guarded, in the sense he was an introvert, which he said repeatedly. He's a very keen observer and he adapts and learns from the environment. In his quiet way within himself, he observes his environment and he learns from his environment. He's pretty objective, but very sensitive. Within that mask, you can't see the sense. You can, you have to feel that sensitivity in him, that sensitivity that his father and he are in the same business. Father has worked very hard and is doing extremely well. And he's so impressed with his father that he's just followed his choice. And then it became his choice too. And though there is no external pressure for him from the family or from the environment, he feels a pressure of performance that I have to reach there. I have to reach that benchmark which he has set for himself as his father. So that makes him very sensitive. So even the slightest comment which a person must have made just offhand, something about the business or something about the performance, he feels extremely sensitive about it, that they are comparing their performance between the father and the son. And he has a lot of self doubt about his worth, anxiety before facing client interviews and before exams, too. He's been very spiritual from a young age. He's inculcated a lot of family values through religion. Being the eldest of his family, he feels that, that pressure in him that I need to be the one who's, earning well and give that financial stability to both my families. I need to be the good father, the good son, and the good husband. He's conscious of his health and is very well maintained. There's a lot of pressure of performance within him to reach the goal or benchmark which he has set for himself. As he realizes that he has a lack, like he is slow mover in achieving. And at his age, he is not yet able to financially support his family as much as he is expected to do. He works hard, he does his best, but somewhere there is something less in him that he can't reach there. And this is something which is pinching him very hard. His frustration he diverts in music and learning new skills like video editing. He's adaptable and molds to situation. He's hardworking and he's an obstinate child. So taking these into consideration from the analysis, I felt that definitely money is something which he is very anxious about. His anxiety about money, family matters, about one's family. He's anxious about his health. He's very adaptable. He's mild. He's a sensitive, been sensitive since childhood. His senses are acute because he feels the environment so much. He's impressionable. His father is his idol. He's yielding. He has a lot of, what will I do if I move out from this family? That fear of poverty, that his family will starve. He's very sensitive to criticism, reproaches, and he's diverted with music or work. So taking all these into consideration, very many remedies came up. But looking into that aspect of Calcarea, which is so sensitive to criticism, which needs that stability and the security and is dependent on for his bread butter, on his family, and considering the aspect of silica in him, which wants to perform to reach a certain goal, to keep up to that image which his father has set in the business world, and he wants to reach there. I gave him Calcarea Silicata, 201 dose. He did extremely well with hardly, I think I've given him only one dose. He immediately settled with his allergic respiratory, and side by side, within 2, 3 months, along with the family business, he took up a side job also to have some additional income. And recently they have separated, they have taken their own house, and he is looking after his wife, child, and he has good relation with his family. So, I mean, our medicine can do wonders at not only the level of allergy, but it can change the person to be more productive and to be more assertive and settle down in terms of, himself, in the sense, be more sure of himself and leave aside all the self-doubt and perform well. So this was my understanding of the case. So now I invite Dr. Anita to share her rubrics.
Thanks, Kushala. Kushala has described her case very well and understanding also in detail. So I think hardly anything is left for us. Let's go through all the rubrics. So in this presentation, we focus on the rubrics of Calcarea Silicata.
Make it full
So I have,
screen.
yeah, I have tried to group them under various headings. So it will become easier for us to integrate various shades of the remedy. So this is the Calcarea Silicata rubrics in relation with family. Like Kushala explained, for Calcarea Silicata, family is very important. For both these elements, Calcarea and Silicata, family is important. So all the rubrics that show his shade of the his connection with the family are elements from death of loved ones. So they are so attached to the family that they suffer if they lose anyone. Cares full of, change aversion to. So they basically stick to whatever they have learned from their family and they conform to those values. So in this respect, they come close to Kali Carb also. So you can compare these remedies also, like arsenic, Kali, Pulsatilla, and Kalika. They are also coming close to this remedy. So delusion, dead person sees. Means for him, even the dead people who have left have still not left. He still carries their impression in his mind. Dependent of others' children in. Like Kushala also said that this patient is also quite dependent on his family. So they are basically weak and timid and they are dependent on others. Then this rubric is very important. It's a single remedy rubric of Calcarea silicata. Pure family matters about. So family matters is a very, broad term which includes everything. So we will try to understand what are family matters. So family matters are generally referred to issues, situations, concerns related to one's family, emphasizing the importance of family relationships and the well-being of loved ones. It can encompass anything from personal family problems to legal or public matters affecting the family unit. So they generally, include, the phrase highlights the significance of family bonds and need to prioritize the needs and well-being of family members. So for them, family is always in priority. And it can refer to variety of situations including family emergencies which require immediate attention and support such as illness or accidents, personal family issues, matter that need private attention like family conflicts or decisions about children. Then legal matters, issues with marriage, divorce, parenting, often requiring a decision or confirmation from a public authority. So in general, all the family matters are very important for Calcarea silicata. So it's not just the financial health, but the well-being of family and other matters. So they are very much afraid of family matters. Then they have this fear of losing a protected feeling. And this protection comes from the people around them or the family which surrounds them. And along with this, they also have this protective desire to protect. So both, it has to be mutual. They want protected feeling and they also want to protect. And they have this fear of losing protected feeling. So all these three things are there where they need this support of the family and also held desire to be held. So they continuously want that support has to be there from the family. It's not clinging. In clinging, it becomes little, uncomfortable. But held desire is just holding hands. So it's not that uncomfortable scenario also like, silica per se has clinging. And love family for. So what is love? Love is again unconditional. So we always try to, differentiate cares for family, anxiety for family, and love for family. So love for family here is unconditional love. So even if you don't get anything from the family, you still want to give. So Calcarea silicata is a person who is very selfless. We will also see other rubrics of Calcarea silicata. So now we will try to see the fear, anxiety, and insecurity. Calcarea and silicata both are very fearful, timid remedies. So when it multiplies, what happens? Anxiety children in anxiety family about his anxiety future, about anxiety about one's own health, anxiety about relatives' health, and anxiety mental exertion from anxiety money matters about, want of self-confidence, confusion of identity, duality, sense of delusion. He has an incurable disease. So generally in Calcarea Silicata, you will find some or the other disease. They are generally, because of the pressures they create for themselves regarding performance, regarding their efforts, regarding taking responsibility and having less resources, they always fall sick. So basically, they are very sickly people, which Dr. Shankaran also has described. Fear of disease being incurable, fear of failure in examination, fear of high places. Like in our case also, we are seeing that when he is seeing his father at high place and he wants to achieve that height. So he's talking of superstar and struggling actor, struggling son. Fear of thunderstorm. Thunderstorm is the any unseen circumstance, unseen danger in the family, which has to be faced. So they are always afraid of all these stressful situations. Then there is sadness in darkness. Anything which is not very clear, that creates sadness in them. Now we will see the sensitivity of Calcarea silicata. So Calcarea silicata sensitivity is so high. Elements from mocked being, elements from reproaches. Now this patient is also very sensitive to what people say, though they don't say anything, but patient all feels what they must be thinking. People who are not successful, what type of opinion society holds for them. So fear of being judged, fear of being observed of her condition. It comes so close to Calcarea. Even Silesia has fear of self-image or fear of needles. So this sensitivity gets multiplied here. Fear of pins, which Silesia also has. Fear of being touched, not just pins, even the touch. So even if someone mentions about them, they get so affected. Sensitivity to criticism from the family, because family is so important for them. So in our case also we are seeing, he is very sensitive if any relatives say anything, or, he sees father as successful. So if he says anything, he may feel, he has not mentioned in the case, but then they are very sensitive and they avoid that criticism. And to avoid that criticism, they try to perform as best as possible. Sensitive to pain, sensitive to reprimands. It is very, very important. And in this sensitivity, it comes very close to carcinosin also. Sensitive to reproaches. So when we see a responsible, dutiful person who is very sensitive, we can also think of carcinosin. But carcinosin is much more complex remedy where they want to please people, whereas Calcarea silicata in that way is quite innocent and they are not, after appreciation or good opinion of others. We also will see the conscientiousness of Calcarea silicata, the duty, the responsibility, the pressure they carry to perform. So all this shows their conscientiousness. So we go through the rubrics: conscientious about trifles, duty, too much sense of even in children. So from small age, from young age, they have started being very dutiful, honest, intellectual children, loyal, mathematics ability. They are able to calculate. That is why so many rubrics related to money matters. Playing desire to play Scrabble. So even Scrabble is a game which is, little bit of academic, where you are making words. So it is not just a fun type of play, but it is more of intellectual activity also. Responsibility taking too seriously, serious children, and yielding disposition in children. So now if we compare with Silesia, which is coming very close to this, Lyco and Silesia both, But then Lyco and Cilicia both are manipulative. So Cilicia per se is in manipulative, dishonest, deceitful, liar, hypocrisy, and fishing aptitude for. What is fishing aptitude? Fishing aptitude is manipulating people. अपने जाल में फंसाना, fish को अपने जाल में फंसाना. So again, that talks of being deceitful and manipulative. But Calcarea silicata, on other hand, is very honest and loyal. So here it differentiates, because Cilicia, now Nirupama will be describing, is in 10th column. So it is much more mature and much more, focused on performance. So they can use all tactics. Whereas Calcarea silicata is quite innocent. So they are very honest and loyal. Now, relationship with money and resources, which is a very, very important factor for their security. So you find elements from loss of money, desires full of unattainable things desire for. This patient also, wants to perform, wants to reach that benchmark. So that desire is always there. Then delusion, family will starve. So even though family situation is very good, but they still feel very financially insecure. So they always want to, make a lot of savings for the security of family. Fear of suffering a loss. Delusion feels old. So here we are talking about physical resources or health of the person feels old, and delusion sick being, or delusion disease, he has an incurable. So if we see this, their health resource is also poor. So that's why I mentioned, Dr. Rajan Shankaran also has mentioned that these are the people who are very sickly, because they can't, they can't take the pressures of the performance of current scenario or the career. So fear of poverty is there, and also fear of work. Fear of work can come from the health issues. So generally we see Calcarea silicata as a very delicate individual. Now if we see the delusion and dreams, very important delusions and dreams, I have not taken all. So talking with dead people. Talking with dead people can come like you want to feel their presence, and also you want to take their guidance about anything. So that can be the reason. And they also dream of dead people. Then talking of murder, fire, rats, of nothing but. So they will talk about the issues, like I said, fear of family matters. So they will talk about various issues from, most minor issue like rats to fire and murder. So they will always talk about whatever dangers are there, small or big, to the family. Delusion of dead corpse, brother and child of, and then husband of, seeing people who are disagreeable, because they are very sensitive to being observed and being criticized or being reproached. So they, in their imagination also, they see people who are disagreeable. Then delusion talking to dead people, I have I have already described. Hearing voices and answers them. So there is some amount of clairvoyance type of feeling also in this, which is also there in Cilicia. Then delusion of old wrinkled woman. Then dreams family of her own, whole family eating something poisonous and dying. So just imagine they are feeling so much of threat to their family, which is very uncommon. No, whole family will eat something which is poisonous and I all die from that. It is such a rare condition, but still they will they will think of, dream of such situations. Then dream of death of relatives, husband of her, which is the main support, you can say. Here also brother and child, because brother, child and husband, all three male, because they may be the major support for the family. Then also dreams of money, which shows their desires. With this, I end my presentation. I will invite Dr. Nirupama to focus on calcarea and silica as elements of periodic table.
Thank you, Anita.
Yes, sorry. Yeah.
So basically, if we see Calcarea comes in fourth row of mineral and silica in 10th row. And Calcarea is in second column and silica is in 10th column. So predominantly what are the issues are fourth row: safety, security, money, home, work, stability, settlement. These are the, we have taken this fourth row quite in details in our previous sessions. So, so here in periodic full screen karna Anita. So if you see Calcarea is here in fourth row, second column. So fourth row is for the bringing stability to the home. And if you see fourth row also speaks about the school age, where father becomes important. Father becomes role model. You want to become like father. You want to perform. You want to bring money. So all these becomes the major things in the fourth column and the school age. And silica is here in the third column where image is important. And when it comes to the 10th column, now I have very strong, rigid image of myself. Next. So basic, this I already told, school age. So theme of family, safety, security, protection. See all the rubrics what Anita read. Father, brother. hmm? So male figures, then work, performance, money. All these are the issues of school age. Hmm? I want protection and I give protection. Hmm? And threat to the safety of the home, family members, self, health. This becomes the important points. And of course, when it comes, then robbers and police also comes in picture. Huh? That is the very big theme of school age. And it's in column two. Column two is weak toddler. So structure is not yet developed. I'm lacking something. This patient himself said, I'm lacking something. I'm not like my father. I'm not able to perform like him. So continuously they feel lack. And Calcarea has tendency to go back and cling to parent if difficulty comes. So weak toddler, they try their level best, but if difficulty comes, they come back. Hmm. So the dependent trait comes here. And row three comes in infancy, where identity becomes important, uh, and bringing control over emotions. But because it's in 10th column, here it comes the image and my performance. Silica is the big performance remedy. So they talk about their performance and they develop a lot of anticipatory anxiety. They think about the success, they think about the failure, and they appreciate a lot of negative things in the process. Next. So if you see when Calcarea meets silica, what happens? The dependency of calcarea and performance of silica, when they meet together, what happens? It creates a lot of anxiety. It creates a lot of anticipatory anxiety, whether I'll be able to do it or I'll not be able to do it. And basically, this personality lacks the confidence. They don't have confidence in themselves. So, lot of fears and anxiety it produces. So, we have seen the big list of fears and anxiety in this case. Anita already read, and because parents are very important figure here, they're very sensitive to their scolding, their criticism. probably they take it also negatively. If something is said, they take it uh, as criticism. So that sensitivity, one has to feel extremely sensitive to the parents' scolding or criticism. And the physical data, if you see, they're extremely chilly. This patient also said very sensitive to anything cold. Cold food, cold draft, cold air, AC, cold water, anything aggravates. And they have a lot of desire to drink warm thing. They like to wrap themselves. So better with warmth is there, and the respiratory sector is uh, present here, and they have tendency to catch cold easily, and a very good remedy for the suppurative tendency. One more thing, when Kushala was explaining the case where this patient has developed the initial stages of varicosity, because there is a family history also, but in Calcarea Silicata also it's given, it's a very good remedy for varicosity. So these are the physical data. With this, I end my presentation. Kushala, if you want to say something.
You're
Kushala,
on
you are on
mute.
mute.
We have rounded it well. Anita has presented various rubrics which can come in terms of making blocks, talking about the fear, insecurity, the ailments, the family anxieties. And Nirupama has rightly given the synthesis of Calcarea being row 4 and Silica being row 3, and the columns, how these two, when you get together, what feel the remedy gives, the synthetic prescribing that has taken place because of the mixing of two salts. So, friends, please do watch our videos. We will be posting them regularly. Subscribe, write your comments on the comment box in our channel, and we will see you shortly again. Good day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.